Welcome back to our double feature with Paul Hall. We just did Pinocchio and blew your minds with all of the esoteric arcana in that little cartoon. And now we are going to take on Hunchback of Notre Dame. How did you like the movie?
I did not really like the movie. Well, okay, the art is weird because, although I was simping a little for the art last episode, this one I will say good art, but
Mhm.
it's like doesn't have that. I mean, the movie, like the substance of the movie was just so difficult. Like it made it hard to goo over the art as much on this.
Well, yeah, I think they really went to weird places in this movie. So this is 1996. Walt Disney, straight off of the heels of their, what do you call it? The golden era, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, all classics, all beautiful. And then you have this Hunchback,
I know.
1996, right? This, like, basically, it is the Quasimodo of Disney movies. Like, it is unsightly, it is weird, it is uncomfortable, dark, all of the things. But before we even talk about Hunchback of Notre Dame, I wanted to start with Gothic architecture. What do you think?
I think that's great because I have a super cool article I want to read some excerpts from on Gothic architecture.
Okay.
So you start, and then I'll read my article, and then it's not my article, it's one I found, but yeah. So
Perfect.
let's go.
Okay, so this movie is based on a book that was written in 1831, and it actually takes place in 1482. So we are smack in the middle of medieval times, right? We are in the Dark Ages, as they would say, with Gothic architecture. And I think it's so interesting that when you see the word Gothic, Elon came out and he called himself Dark Gothic MAGA. Remember that? And he put on his black baseball cap, and the crowd went wild. And I was just thinking, Gothic architect, well, it comes from Visigoths and Goths, which converted pretty early on. And the whole point of the architecture of these cathedrals is light. So it's interesting when you say Gothic, you think of darkness, you think of macabre, horror, thunder and lightning crashing, like that kind of thing. Think of medieval church. Um, and this is definitely true of like Gothic literature. But the actual Gothic architects, they worshipped the light. And they believed that light was a physical manifestation of the divine, and that by filling churches with light, they would become closer to God. Now, this kind of reminded me of Pharaoh Akhenaten, so it's not so different from Akhenaten's Rays of the Aten. I don't know if you've seen that stela of Akhenaten and his family. And you've got the god, the monotheistic sun god, and the rays are coming down, and the hands are like petting people. So this is how people in the Middle Ages also thought of light and the sun. And the stained glass windows also created a unique experience in the Gothic cathedrals. So the author, Victor Hugo, who we're going to talk about, I mean, he could like have his own show, right? Like he was a character.
You should do it with BLA at some point or something.
I should. Yeah, we could. Um, but I didn't read the book. I just watched the movie and I studied a couple of things.
It was really, it's like 1,000 pages or something, and I
Mm.
was like, I'll be honest, like I didn't have the gumption to
Well,
do it.
a lot of that book actually was dedicated to describing the church architecture in detail and Gothic architecture. And of course, we're talking about Notre Dame in Paris. And Paris is one of those places in the world where you are stunned by beauty. I don't know, have you ever been there?
No, I'd love to go to Europe. I've not been yet though.
Okay, so definitely I've been to Paris a couple times and it's breathtaking in some places, like the architecture, the aesthetic, just it is stunning, and Notre Dame is one of those things. And actually, I just wanted to throw in, if you're in Paris, don't miss this smaller cathedral called Saint-Chapelle. So this was actually
I know that one.
okay.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. The stained glass in there is, I would say it's a transcendental experience. Like it's something that you go up into the stained glass windows, and this was actually built, they said, to house the crown of thorns, and then the crown of thorns moved to Notre Dame. Did you know that?
No, we have a relic piece of the crown here at the monastery.
Oh, nice. So yeah, Saint Chapelle's one of the lesser known Gothic cathedrals, but a perfect example of just this utter beauty of these places. What were you gonna say?
Crown there
Mhm.
still in the
I'm not
cathedral?
sure if it's there, like because a lot of these things get disputed, and you're like, this is not a real relic or whatever.
Yeah, there's like three heads of John the Baptist. Not to be irreverent, but it's like it's a whole story of yeah, it's like
Yeah.
so I get it.
But as the story goes, it's built to house the crown of thorns. And then one other church I just wanted to bring up real quick is the example of magnificent Gothic architecture is the Duomo di Milano in Italy. So in Milan, they have this huge, beautiful Gothic church that just like takes your breath away. So these three, I'm sorry, what?
That's like that biggest dome, the first biggest dome they built church, the Milano one, the one in
Oh,
Milan.
maybe
Is
so.
it a big dome?
Huh, yeah. Yeah. So fiat lux is what we're talking about right now. Let there be light. And you said you had a contrast between the Gothic architecture of the medieval times and, let's say, an Orthodox church, because around, 1100 in that era, there was sort of architectural revolution across France and in the following century, more than 20 Gothic churches arose in the villages around Paris, and it became a contest between communities who could build the highest cathedral. And this was actually a project of the middle class, so it wasn't something they were relying on churches. It was the communities getting together and saying, we want a beautiful Gothic church for our village. So all the merchants would get together and donate, and the craftsmen would, donate their time. And it was actually a community building project of the middle class of that ages, and also something that took generations to accomplish because they knew that when they started out these projects that it was going to take hundreds of years and they would never see it in their lifetime. It was something that they could leave to their children to continue. So it's a really cool era. The master operative masons would become famous in that time. The towns would try to get the best ones, and they would like offer them money. So they were like kind of the rock stars of that era, the people who knew how to actually build these things. And then with the introduction of the rose window, that takes it a step further in esoteric and geometric magic, as they would say. So, tell us a little bit about the contrast between like what an Orthodox Eastern European church would look in contrast to the Western Gothic style.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to use my own simple words, the biggest difference would be like we were saying before, you were just saying with the light in the
Hmm.
West, it consists of like the stone, this hard, heavy stone is somehow like taking on this quality where matter itself is rising more and more to this weightless, it's the whole thing with these flying buttresses, it makes it look like this giant stone is floating. And so there's very much this like ascension from the I don't want to say carnal, but kind of like the material up to the transcendent.
Hmm.
And with that kind of comes that move into the light, where when the difference with the Orthodox churches is that our walls are lined with people. It's
Hmm.
like the saints are in the stories of Christ is what lines our church. And so there's this way that it's like the light is not the light of this world, but the uncreated light of God that shines through the saints in many ways. And of course, we have windows, but um, you notice in a lot of churches, it depends where you are, because like in northern countries, they'll have big, thick stone walls and maybe small windows to keep the place insulated, or maybe somewhere in the Mediterranean, they'll have bigger light sources coming in, but always there'll be the emphasis on icons
Hmm.
rather than just. So listen, I want to read some excerpts from this great paper. No, it's from a book called The Freedom of Morality, and unfortunately, I don't know who the author is. But it's from St. Vlad's, I believe. I could tell from the text. And the chapter is called The Ethos of Liturgical Art. All right. Architecture is probably the art which gives us the most opportunities to approach our theme. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The first characteristic one might note in the architecture of Byzantine church, as we now call it, or our Orthodox churches, is respect for the building materials, an attempt to manifest the inner principle, the inner logos, the potentialities of the matter, and to bring about a dialogue, quote unquote, between the architect and his material. So what do these statements mean in terms of the actual technique of church construction? Um, to answer, we shall inevitably have to resort to comparisons setting Byzantine building to Gothic. Okay. So there's a bit on ancient Greek architecture, but I'm going to skip it. But basically, the idea in ancient Greek, the cosmic harmony of proportion is what matters more than anything else. So the point where, like, for example, you'll even have doors that are 10 times as big as a human just to fit the proportion of the buildings. Where
Hmm.
an Orthodox church won't do that because it's just kind of like it's more about fitting the human rather than the honoring the proportions as proportions, as these just like golden proportions out in the ether.
Hmm.
So with Gothic architecture, in Gothic building, the craftsman is not concerned with the inner principle of the building material, like we were saying. His aim is not to study this inner principle or to coordinate and reconcile it with the inner principle of his own creative will, but on the contrary, he subjugates the material to give it form, squaring the stone and doing violence to its own inherent static balance, like its own stoniness so that to fulfill his ideological aim, okay, I'm going to skip a little bit. So he's basically saying like they chop these blocks down to fit the preconceived logic. So
Hmm.
he's saying his ideological aim of Gothic architecture is to create an impression of the authority of a visible body of the church, an authority which exerts influence and imposes itself not only on its absolute monopoly in handling God's wishes and revelations, but also through the palpable and immense majesty of the way it's articulated. Okay, it's a little wordy. He's saying there's a uniform submission to given rules and preconditions that makes us saved. So it's kind of like saying that the math and sort of the adherence to these forms of the building itself is in a way not symbolize, is idiomatic of the way the Catholic Church has all these sorts of rules and preconditions for salvation. And it's
Hmm.
like almost exemplified in the architecture. So it says the architecture is the first technological application of scholastic thought, following it both directly in time and substance. It's the technique which sets out in visible form the scholastic attempt to subject the truth to the individual's intellect, a new structure for logical organization of truth introduced by scholasticism. In the 13th century, for the first time in the history of human learning, the formulation and development of a truth is arranged systematically with divisions. Work is divided into books, into chapters, into paragraphs, and into articles. And so he's saying the technique of Gothic architecture is based on a structure of small chiseled stones of uniform shape. The stones form the columns are into ribs, and these form the vaults, and et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And so at this, basically, he's saying the thesis. Okay, I don't want it's getting too wordy there. He's basically saying finally, Gothic architecture and the structure of scholastic thought restrict the possibility of experiencing truth exclusively to the intellect, meaning like it kind of makes logic and intellectualism reign supreme over emotional suggestion and law and the heart, maybe, let's say.
Hmm.
Uh, he's saying there's no personal room left for the unforeseen or for freedom. And the feeling in the Gothic architecture is that there's no escape.
Hmm.
It's funny because this is due to the passion which seeks deliverance, the passion which finds an outlet in intoxication, vertigo, and emotional ecstasy. Now, I know this sounds like a bunch of kind of stuff, but the point is, I guess it's my problem reading this article out of context. It's like a 40-page article. But
Okay.
like, so the forgive me, chat. But the point is, Jamie, but the point is like Orthodox stuff is more organic,
Uh-huh.
where the Gothic has this sort of preconceived building plan that has a lot to do with the way the Catholic Church created a sort of uh, payment plan for salvation. And there's this intertwining way between the church's authority kind of took over in the West and how that's played out in the buildings. And I
Mhm.
just kind of thought it's funny because in the Hunchback movie, the Gothic church is kind of like this sanctuary, not sanctuary. It's like a prison for some, and to some they see it as freedom. And so I thought it was almost interesting that it's like, oh, this guy's. I could see how this thought this guy was making about the way that we sort of yearn to break out of this stone is even in this movie. So.
That's very interesting. Does it say anything about how this is way off on a tangent, and forgive me if you're not into architecture, but there's a very deep esoteric book that a lot of people reference called Temple of Man by Swallow de Lubitz. And he talks about how the temples of Egypt were built on proportions of like human bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely see that in some of the Gothic churches also because it was meant to be a sort of a body. Like you said, the buttresses are a skeleton. So,
Yeah.
did your article say anything about that?
Um, Not in that exact sense, but oh, actually, kinda. Dude, yeah, actually, this is actually the coolest part of the paper that I didn't read. It's one little chunk, but it's kind of on that nature on that sense.
Uh-huh.
So, let's see. Let me just read here really quick to make sure I don't just prattle off. Um, so in a word, it's saying that there's this divine authority and this grandeur of the divine compared to human smallness, and that in the Gothic, it's an encounter between two natures, the human nature and the transcendent God.
Hmm.
And that this is exactly what happens, this is what the author says, with papal primacy and infallibility, with the whole totality of the Catholic Church in the sense that you have this monolithic framework and then the small individual.
Hmm.
And so he said, like, the authorities expressed in this monolithic, unified structure, and that there's not really the human freedom of Christ's assumption in worldly flesh, but its visible concrete potential in skeletal form. So it is this, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting, I sorry, bad,
That's
maybe
okay. Well,
bad, I'm just kind of riffing here. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. Let's warm
well,
up here.
moving on, but still staying with the Gothic theme, because Notre Dame is a character in this story itself, right? The
Like in
church itself,
the movie. Yeah.
and in the movie for sure.
So
Um,
in the book.
they, uh, so the Master Masons were very important in this, and then with the introduction of the rose window at the Strasbourg Cathedral on the border of France and Germany, it took on a whole new level of sacred geometry because the rose windows, I didn't know if you noticed, look a lot like cymatics. Like, have you ever
Oh,
seen what that is? So you vibrate like particles on a plane and it arranges itself into patterns, right? Like snowflakes and stuff like that. But I found this picture. So here's side by side
yeah,
the rose windows of the major Gothic cathedrals, and then the notes on the scale that,
that's amazing.
yeah, are
That's so
created when
cool.
you play that. So, like, A flat, D major, like C, all of these are root notes that look
That's so cool.
exactly
I
like,
love cymatics.
yeah,
When I think like there's a weird way that it's like cymatics kind of symbolize like the word made flesh, man, in like many
exactly.
ways. Cause yeah, because we got this like invisible thing you can't see sound. It's
Hmm.
like boom, like coming into visible form. And it's so crazy. Like cymatics are they're fascinating to me. I love them. They're so cool.
So Notre Dame has a very famous rose window, and the Gothic cathedrals, not only were they meant to let in as much light as possible, but they were also built to amplify and resonate sound, and especially the human singing voice. So this is where you get all of the beautiful choirs and harmony and the healing vibrations. I know this sounds woo-woo, but it's scientific, that actually like heal you at a cellular level, right? These
Say
tones.
cats do that
I'm sorry, what?
too. Cats do that too.
Cats do it?
Yeah, they say when they purr, like a frequency,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Um, so suppose all these places, when activated by sound, created a beautiful harmony throughout the area. And so what they were trying to do is build a church that is within earshot of the next church bells, so that you could always be tuning and toning your villages and populations. And if you had different rose windows and different like bells and stuff, you could get different harmonies going on across the land. So this is a really beautiful opportunity for uh, expression, like religious expression. And it's interesting because there's something healing about church bells. I mean, Orthodox take bells very seriously. Remember that movie, that Tarkovsky movie
Yeah.
about what was it called? Andrei Rublev in the very last
Oh
part
yeah, the
of that.
whole climax is about making a bell.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
So
yeah, I mean we got a bell tower here and it's like, yeah, I'll ditch the script. Hey, forgive me for that essay thing. I was like, it's hard to kind of pick and point these good things out being incoherent. So sorry, chat.
that's
Sorry,
okay.
Jamie. We'll move on. But speaking more just straight from Paul here, like the medieval stuff, it's like it's fascinating because it's like you're saying, the people are doing it. And there's that weird point in our like collect cultural psyche where it's like medieval stuff rocks because it's still like kind of orthodox, but at the same time, it's like so moving apart from that. It's like that's when it all starts turning into Catholicism and Protestantism eventually, but it feels like it's one of those things that the people down on the floor were maybe more like Orthodox longer than the church itself started to change, because these things took place over a long time.
Right. So yeah, because Gothic, this started in 1144, so that wasn't even very far after Schism. So there was,
Right. And
yeah,
yeah, it's like I mean, again, maybe I'm taking it too broad of a picture, but it's like I don't think every Tom, Dick, and Harry knew what's going on in the schism to the
no,
degree we would know now,
right.
you know?
Right. So the bells are very important in this, and that's actually what Quasimodo does, is he is the bell ringer of Notre Dame. And I thought this was interesting when I was looking at the bells. I came across this article, and the title is An Exorcist Explains Why the Devil Hates Bells So Much. This is from a
Yeah.
Catholic website, obviously, but there is something to this, that the vibration of the bells is a medicine of sorts, and it can get rid of like parasites and different kind of ailments and depression. And then I remember that during World War II, the NAZIs, they went around systematically removing all of the thousands of church bells across Europe and melting them down, supposedly for ammunition, but I think it was probably more of an esoteric attack on goodness. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even if they're melting it down to make bullets, is it still the same attack,
Yeah.
they're still doing the same thing. That's funny because like then you got this there's that new military church in Russia that's come out over the years. Have you ever seen this thing? It's like this giant Wizard
Yes.
of Oz looking thing and it's made from X like it looks like a Disneyland ride. It's like you're going in the church and there's like an old tank here and like building stuff made out of old grenades and cannons. And you're just like, this is like, it's got this weird, like we kind of studied it in school and we call it the Lord of the Rings church because it's like when you go in there, you're like in this other world, not
Oh,
even real.
yeah, it does kind of feel like you're in Moria or something, like in the mines of dwarf.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because churches is like, this is something I'm wrestling with personally, like as a and from an aesthetic thing is like, should a church be super otherworldly or should it be real? Because like God came to reality.
Hmm.
He didn't come to LARP, like he didn't come to Disneyland, so to speak, or like make one. So
Hmm.
it's like there's a weird feeling when we go into church where it's like, ah, it's not like the real world. I get to go here and kind of like go to this other time, another place with the incense and the dresses and the robes, and it's like it feels ancient. And then you walk out and you're like, oh, my boring life.
Hmm.
And so there's that weird not weird. It's like that exciting idea of like, well, how do we make a church that's like not supernatural, spiritual,
Hmm.
and at the same time not like an alien mothership that just like dropped into the middle of somewhere that doesn't look like it belongs, you know?
Interesting.
So
Yeah. How do you make it feel heavenly and familiar at the same time and
yeah,
also fit into your culture and the architecture
right.
of the
But
area?
especially as Americans, because like we don't
Yeah.
have a culture. Like our churches, like seriously, like I wonder if they'll have like mid-century aesthetic on the ornaments or Rothko type color swaths, you know, like it's crazy because like you can experiment, but you won't know until like maybe people go to the church and they're in it for decades, and it's a big risk. Yeah, I've heard of iconographers that will do some pretty experimental things with churches, and the bishop's just like, nope, more Byzantine,
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the author for a second.
please. Yeah.
Because this is an interesting fellow. So, this is Victor Hugo, who was a French romantic author. And like I said, he could have an entire show of his own because the first thing that pops up when you peruse who's Victor Hugo, what's he about, what was he up to, right? Says he was probably the 19th century's most prolific sex addict.
Hmm.
So this is going to enlighten us when we dive into Hunchback because it's my theory that like Quasimodo is sort of Frollo's or Victor Hugo's like ugly s sin that he tries to keep locked in the tower of religion or church or his psyche or whatever and not let it out. But he did let it out. According to his biography, he let it out everywhere
A
and as
lot.
much as he could all the time.
Let
Um,
it out so much. He let it out so much that apparently when he died, every brothel, not just in Paris, but I think like in wider parts of French, like went black for the day.
yeah,
No business. And they all wore like black armbands of mourning and stuff.
yeah. So, I mean, how could he even turn out normal when he had this crazy life? I mean, his father was a soldier, and his father loved to brag about the location of Victor's conception, which was at the top of a mountain after battling a rash of smugglers. So then later on, the site became famous like as a some kind of fertility spot, and the location is marked with a stone tablet. So that is the conception of Victor Hugo, and he only went downhill from there.
They got a Yoni stone in Paris somewhere, folks.
Yeah.
Go. Did you hear about when he would write, what he would do, like his writing practice? He
Yeah,
would
tell it.
lock he would lock himself in his room and he would take off all his clothes and give them to his maids or whatever, and then basically say like, don't give me my clothes for 8 hours, don't let me out, don't anything. That way he was like forced to work and he couldn't go put on clothes, like because he had a thing too for like dressing up and going out and being seen and stuff. So that's the only way he was able to get his work done.
Yeah, that made me like him even more because they're like he just had like a dirty blanket or some kind of tattered shawl around him, like up there writing, and he probably felt like Quasimodo, or he even may have got some inspiration from the way that he was writing, all locked up in
Yeah, I agree. I
himself.
agree with what you're saying about kind of Quasi being Frollo's sort of cut off, kind of lustful shadow or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't read the book, but I did do the long cliff notes on it. And did you
Mhm.
did you see at all how the ending is in the book?
No.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, basically, it ends with both Quasimodo and Esmeralda dead in the
Yikes.
grave, like in a mass grave or something. And they find there's like takes place years later, and these people are uncovering a grave, and they see like a skeleton there, and then another like deformed, weird skeleton like on top of it, like coupling it. And I'm like, what did?
Was that supposed to be Esmeralda and Quasi?
Yeah. And he's
Ew.
like, yeah, yeah. And it's like they don't say what he was doing there, but it's just like obvious he had some necro thing going on there that was like,
Whoop de
dude,
Well, I know because I was reading this guy and I was like looking at the book and about his life, and I'm like, who decided that this would make a good Disney movie? Like on the heels of Lion King, and then you get
what?
freaking turd hunchback? Like, what is
You
going
know
on?
what's funny is it's the heels of what Demi's movie was before this? Striptease. So she
Oh,
went
of
from
course.
Striptease to Esmeralda like back to back.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
says Hugo claimed that on their wedding night, he and his wife Adele had intimacy 9 times, but the wife reportedly lost interest altogether. But 19th century Paris had enough brothels to keep Hugo entertained morning, evening, and night. He's venerated as a saint in Vietnam. Yeah, like when you said when he died, the brothels of Paris closed for the day of mourning, allowing the city's SEX workers to pay their last respects to the loyal client. Police officer told him that the SEX workers even draped their genitals in black crepe as a mark of respect. So he was a wild guy. He loved to party, like you said, party every night. Uh,
And
he
like you're saying, Vietnam is a cult about him. Like he's a
mhm.
cult leader, or a god, whatever you want to call him, Demi, the little god.
He was also very
It-
political,
oh yeah?
and he was banished by one of the Napoleons for a while, right? And I looked up, so I Googled was Victor Hugo Freemason because we were talking all about Pinocchio, and Freemasonry and Enlightenment. And I got
So,
something way more interesting.
all right, let's hear it.
Okay, so apparently he was not a Freemason. He was something called a Martinist.
I don't know what those
You ever heard
are.
of that?
I heard of it, but I couldn't tell you what a Martinist is.
Oh man, I lost my thing. So
We can wait a second. In the meantime,
here we go.
could say, shoot, what was I gonna say about Victor Hugo? Oh, you know that I think Hunchback. Oh shoot, I forget if it was Hunchback or Les Mis. Please forgive me, chat, if you know better. But he like it was like worth the equivalent of like $3 million or something by today's money or something. Or then it was like basically the most an author has ever gotten paid for a book was
Oh yeah,
Victor Hugo.
yeah. I saw that. He's like, I want to be the highest paid author ever, and they're like, okay. Okay, so the Martinist order is a Western esoteric order. Started with the teachings of Louis Claude de Saint Martin, and Jacob Boehme. So it's a Bohemian, uh, Rosicrucian type. It says it focuses on mystical and spiritual development, particularly through initiation and the way of the heart. It is an initiatory thing, so it draws from Masonic Templarism and Christian Theosophy, they said.
Hmm.
It says it's structured around initiations, and a system of study that includes topics like alchemy and Kabbalah. Boom. Here, look at here.
Oh,
Here is the symbol for the Martinists.
dude, these symbols suck. Like every symbol is always so
Does that look
elaborate.
familiar?
Oh yeah.
And apparently this is still a thing. Like if you are interested in the order Martiniste in Paris, you can go to this website, martinismusa.com. There is a convention going on in Lyon in 2026. So this reminds me very much of the Amorc, the Rosicrucians. Here is Louis Claude de Saint Martin. So the Rosicrucians also, I mean not the I Am cult. You heard of those guys?
I haven't.
Of Saint Germain. This kind of reminds me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Victor Hugo, he is a woo-woo esoteric magical thinker. What do you know?
I was
Just like
surprised.
Pinocchio.
Hey, wasn't it surprised that our good old our friends over at Anaheim would pick him up for story adaptation?
Right.
So, okay. Do you want to get into this movie or what? You want to get what else you
Yeah,
got?
so that was the
Yeah.
preamble again to Notre Dame. We've gone over the history of Gothic architecture and stained glass. We talked about Victor Hugo and his crazy personality, and his esoteric background. What was the last thing about him? Anything? Victor Hugo. Oh, Oh, nothing. Just that Claude de Saint-Martin was the unknown philosopher, they called him.
One
And
last thing. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, the last thing I was just gonna say, we don't have to talk much about it, but gypsies or Egyptians, that comes from Egypt. They call them Romani, but gypsy means Egyptians.
Dude, I thanks you for educating me. I did not know that. I knew it was the Romani part, but I never put the Egyptian part to
Yeah.
it. Wow. The one last thing I was thinking of architecture, and again, the last time I'll say it. Sorry, I'm reading that weirdo essay. If anyone wants to check it out, though, it is very cool. Freedom of morality, the roles of the ethics of the ethos of liturgical art.
Okay.
But one of the things, for sure, people be texting me. Uh, it's interesting with Western churches because they always have the spire, right? It's always about like that pointing the vault the up to heaven. It's like
Hmm.
we're on our way there. It's always that ascent to God, where the Orthodox Church is the dome, So the idea is that like God is here covering, protecting us, looking over everything. So even down on that architectural level, the dome versus the church spire is a huge difference in the east versus west.
Mm.
And I hope that down the road, if when we do the iconography stuff, we could do church architecture. It's
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I love architecture. I think it's super interesting. I think there is something going on with buildings. I think they are not alive, but definitely there's a lot to dive into there. But let's talk about the actual cartoon itself. This steaming pile. No, I just kidding. Well, it
No, it kind of is though. Like,
oh man, it you get your hopes up when it starts because it like pans in the drone footage of Notre Dame soaring above the clouds and you think, "Oh wow, this is really pretty. It's gonna look cool." And then it's very disappointing. The music in this is very lame.
what'd you think of the
I
music?
mean, coming off of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. I mean, Lion King is probably one of the top five soundtracks of all time.
Like we were listening to the end of the Lion King climax when he like he's got like his baby, Simba's got his baby, and it's like epic all over again. It's
Yeah, yeah,
dude, we
yeah.
were just in the car like a month ago to like 50,000, and it was just like my buddy, I was like, let's listen again. He's like, we cannot listen again because it was so epic. Like my dopamine levels are going through the roof right now. There's like
I
no way I
know.
can come out again.
As soon as the sun starts to rise in Lion King, it's like Matavenya, and you're like Frisian
Yeah.
all over, like chills. What is going on? Anyways, but Hunchback was
That's
so bad. What?
that's exactly it though. Like Disney music diatribe for half a second. Like you could show so many shots of the classic movies with no audio, and everybody can be like, I know it goes there, I know it goes there, I know it goes there. But if I
Mhm.
show you some still shot from like the new Pixar movie or like Wish, like could you sing any like what happened here? It's like the music has just gone so downhill in Disney that it's like I almost wonder if like partly why these movies were so amazing as a kid is because of the music.
Definitely. I mean, I would argue that uh Prince of Egypt, I know that's not Disney, but that's probably one of the best soundtracks of all time of a movie.
Yeah, and it was, I think, dude, I think it was the same lyricist of Hunchback Schwartz who did Prince of Egypt.
Oh, really? Well, he must
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I
phone it in
admit,
because this sucks.
I like Alan Menken, the composer. I mean, he did Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. But at this point, and he did Tangled, but at this point, like the music is like, I don't know, man, it just doesn't slap. Like it
No,
used
it
to.
does not slap at all. It doesn't pop. It doesn't grind, nothing. So it is half formed like Quasimodo. This movie is meta.
Right?
It's like
Yeah.
ugly like Quasi. He is a almost formed being. Someone pointed out about Pinocchio is like a golem, and I was like, yeah, so is Quasi in a way. The whole question of this book is who is the man and who is the monster. So I'm pretty sure that's what Victor Hugo was going for. Like, is it the religious leaders or is it this ugly, deformed person who's actually deformed? And come to find out, Quasi is actually a gypsy.
Dude, why did I did not put that together, but he obviously is because they drop him off as a gypsy boy and they drop
Well,
him off.
yeah, because the gypsy people get chased down by Frollo and his gang at the very beginning. And I was just like, I watched Thomas from Paranoid Americans breakdown of this movie, and I have to agree, like I can't think of another cartoon or a children's movie where they show the death of the mother, like actually the her dying.
Right, right. I
Um,
think you're
I can remember Land Before Time, but that's a dinosaur, but I can't think of any human deaths in a kid's movie that is like as graphic as that. So Frollo's chasing Quasi's mom, who's obviously a gypsy, and she's running up the steps to Notre Dame to try and find sanctuary, but she doesn't make it. She falls down the steps and she breaks her neck. And I was like, whoa, dude.
yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah,
it's like
he
dead.
killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Graphic, right?
I mean, yeah, and then he's like ready to kill the baby too.
He was gonna
Dropping down.
drop Quasi down the well.
So it's like this movie is dark right from the get-go. And yeah, and go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna say, so the movie starts out with ethnic cleansing, right?
Ah, right.
And you've got Quasi Moses over here who's like up the river trying to escape the
Yeah,
killing.
he's like the Moses dude. And later when he's letting Quasi Esmeralda go, she's like, let my people go, dude. He's like, let
Yes,
my Egyptian people free. That's
exactly.
crazy.
It's very Israelite coded in here.
Yeah, oh well, yeah, that I mean is everything not Israelite code.
Right.
No. Which will actually I don't have much to say on that explicitly, but I do have a comment about Israeli Hollywood.
Okay.
We'll
So
get there
yeah,
later.
we're 5 minutes into this children's movie. We've seen a cartoon mom die. We've talked about like ethnic cleansing. A baby's about to get thrown down a well until the priest stops Frollo and says, "No, you have to raise him as your penance."
Right. And then he's like, can you actually do that for me? Like you put him up in your
Yeah.
house. So I thought this was an interesting like what I found interesting about this film and the not the good of the film because I really did not like this movie at all. And I think it like stinks a lot of like the exactly the kind of game that's being played against us these days by the powers on high. Using the church, but not the church. And you know, we'll get to it as we unfold. But the things I was trying to find in this movie that were you know, good representatives of human dynamic, or at least trying to like do some pedagogy stuff during it is like, so what happens with Frollo, the reason he's so screwed is like because his decision to repent, you know, okay, I'll raise the baby, it's not real. Like it's done out of guilt. And so basically it's like in Christian life, you could either do something out of the fear of punishment, the reward, the hope for reward, or love. And so it's like Frodo is clearly on that like most base level of just fear of punishment. That's the only reason why he acts. And really like that means you're not free.
Mm.
Like you're just doing something compulsively. So it kind of I think sets the seeds sort of you could say like symbolically for the struggle to have this whole movie with like freedom, releasing your passions, getting what you want, repressing them, all that kind of stuff is because his whole motivation is built on this, you know, kind of weird dyad of guilt and power and no love. So it's gonna be cool seeing how that plays out.
I think Frollo is one of the voices that talk to Victor Hugo. Right?
Well,
Um,
and also
it wasn't
we
the
can
good
say
angel, but it was like the strict angel on his shoulder, like you are bad, you are scum, you are nothing. Remember that song that he makes Quasi sing, like I am nothing, I am ugly, I'm a
yeah, yeah,
I'm
I
like,
have the lyrics. Yeah, because we got some heavy gaslighting in this movie.
yeah.
I got all the lyrics here to for further. And you know what? Another thing we should make note of, which you know, whether it's the right move or not, is like in the book, Frollo is an archdeacon. He's not a minister of justice.
Mm, mm.
The the studio decided to make him a sort of secular. figure in order not to, offend Christians or anything or make the church look bad. It's kind of like you could be like, oh, good move. That was the right move to do, because you don't want to alienate people and, the big noses up in the office need to like make sure they get up, they're not offending anybody, so the tickets will be sold.
Hmm.
And so I just thought it's kind of it was telling, where they're just so really like so afraid to play it straight by having a priest be corrupt.
I just think it was super bold of Disney to think that they could Disney-fy this movie because it didn't really go over.
No.
Gargoyles, I think that, okay, so Quasimodo grows up all alone in this bell tower, right? And in
Mhm.
the book, he's deaf because of the bells. And are they insinuating that these gargoyles are in his head because they don't talk to anyone else?
I think so because one, I listened to the director's cut on one of my times through watching this, or the director's commentary. Not the director's cut. It's animation, they don't do extra stuff. But and they said explicitly that like they represent being in his head. And then at the end, when they sing that love song to him or like you're a great guy song, whatever, and
Yeah,
all the backgrounds are like highly stylized and just like colors and patterns, they're not like real backgrounds.
yeah.
That symbolizes it's all happening in his head. And it's funny because that scene is like when the whole world is burning down around him.
Oh,
He's just like, yeah, his brother loves me, and he's like totally checks out and gets dissociative.
well, not only does he dissociate, um, he also builds a miniature replica of the village. So this is a very like as above, so below with
Ah,
without motif also.
yeah, let's roll through scene by scene because I have some good quotes to sort of go with these talks about fantasy and shame and the delusion he's going
Yes.
through.
So Frollo, I mean, Quasi is Frollo's shame. Um, Frollo and Quasi are part of Victor Hugo's psyche in his battle against lust and what he thinks is right, um, versus what the church tells him.
It's
And
hard being a West, and our minds are it takes a thorough effort to become orthodox in your mind, where you just don't have this like dichotomy of like like sensuality bad, heaven
Mhm.
good,
Right.
lust split. It's like this terrible thing. We all suffer from it, maybe not necessarily in sensual things, but like in everything. We're so dualistic
Hmm.
that it's like I just want to like curse you, Western heritage, you know.
Yeah, so Frollo, he's a judge, but he works at the Palace of Justice, which actually is like a torture dungeon.
Yeah, like fully spiked up castle place with like literally a torture dungeon. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Phoebus, you know the captain that like your job is now replacing? You hear him screaming back there?"
Yeah, he's like, "Roar!" Exactly. So he's a sadist, right? Um,
Absolutely. A sniffer. He's a hair sniffer. But we'll
oh,
get there.
oh yeah, we'll get there. He's just
So I
like,
put at the beginning, just for a note, I put shame, Frollo's shame twists into envy and lust, and it
mhm,
keeps him from repentance. Because the
mhm,
other thing is, Frollo's so ashamed of his feelings for the gypsy, for Esmeralda and stuff, that he will do like anything to avoid giving that part of him to God. Because like God says, "Give me your whole heart." And
mhm,
there's that part of us we're like so ashamed. We don't want to be seen. We don't want anybody to know our secret in that area. So we hold on to it. And because we're not willing to give that part over to God, it's gonna eat us alive. That's
mhm.
exactly what happens to Frollo this whole movie.
And to Frollo's, if you can say anything in defense of him, I mean, Quasi is not ready to go out into the real world.
Right.
He's very developmentally arrested, you would say, right? He has what, like the mentality of like a 10-year-old kid.
In the book,
Mhm.
I heard that he's like way more kind of like not cool like in the Disney movie. Like he's like kind of mean and like he's deaf, like he doesn't
Yeah.
hear root, he's kind of just like a uh like a boy. I don't want to say like a bitch boy that just like goes around doing Frollo's stuff, and he's like way more like a Igor type of vibe.
Right. But you can't put that on a Happy Meal. I
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
I
how do
know.
they get away with like Quasimodo toys and stuff? Like that is so funny to me. And not
It's
even
funny.
they
Yeah, go
mentioned
ahead, go
on
ahead.
that other show with Thomas, like not even McDonald's would take it. It had to be Burger King.
I actually think I show of Thomas's because I heard the thing about the Burger King toys. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they get the BK. Yeah, they can't even settle. They can't even get the real king,
Can't even get on a
McDonald's,
Happy Meal. You're at Burger King now.
the budget toy. Hunch budget of Notre Dame. Budget back.
Yeah.
Back. Nub back. Anyways.
So,
Uh,
oh, so Frollo's saying he sings this whole song, "You're too deformed to leave the tower." And this reminded me of Tangled. Now, I don't know if you've seen Tangled.
Ooh,
Uh,
actually, I think Tangled's a pretty solid psychological portrayal of a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good. It's actually a pretty good movie, I think.
well, Tangle is a little bit subversive against mothers because the mother is the villain in that she wants to keep Rapunzel, safe and locked up, but Rapunzel wants to get out and see the world. But can't you just see how this like would translate to a child? Like my mom won't let me do what I want when I want. So she's an evil witch keeping me locked up, or they're like Frollo. It's like, no, your parent has to give you boundaries.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like it's just such a modernism, the last 500 years of the human thing, where it's like my individual conscience is the arbitrator of the world. Like if I, it makes you, if it feels good, do what thou wilt, kind
Hmm.
of. And it's even right down to the, oh, out there, he's like, it's like it's so cloaked in this. Like the lyrics are hilarious because hilarious is maybe not the right word choice, but he's like, we're so naive like that. I'm like, oh, if I just had one day out there, like I swear, only this one time, it's definitely not going to open something in my psyche to like run the whole world topsy-turvy. He's like
Hmm.
exactly what happens, right? He gets his one moment out there, and then
Hmm.
literally the whole world turns topsy-turvy for like the rest of the story,
Hmm.
like the upside down. And so I think it's just that interesting way that often the thing we long for, do we really want it when we get it out there?
Man, that song was so cringe when he was like crawling all over the church like King Kong and singing and like a monkey or
Yeah,
something. Like,
he was King Konging it. Let's see. Yeah, he says out there. I would love to be strolling by the sand. Just one day out there. I swear I'll be content with my share. I won't resent. I won't despair. I'll just be old and bent and I won't care because I'll have one day out there.
hmm.
And it's like, I get it, but that's like exactly the It's like, look, I've got a lot of old habits I've had to get rid of over the years. So if I go like just one more, dude, it's like you might see me 3 months later on the opposite side of some place I don't want to be. So it's like the idea of only one and then my whole life will be better. Like I just have this reaction, a response against that type of letting the free fall.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. He free falls down from his rhythm, his bell rhythm into the chaos of the crowd.
Yeah. Um, Phoebus, the hero, and Esmeralda, the gypsy. According to Trollo, the Gypsians are heathen and are a bad influence. So Frollo has brought Phoebus in as the captain to basically
So,
eradicate the gypsies, right?
yeah, Frollo says gypsies live outside the normal order. Their heathen ways inflame the people's lowest instincts, and they must be extinguished. So, I mean, this movie is like serious themes of
But it's
big popular. Yeah,
but it's
not
also
gonna
Hebrew too, because like Pharaoh and Herod were trying to do the same thing. Um,
happen.
Quasi escaped. He's like some kind of hero of his people. When in
Right.
I know we're going past what we're at in the movie, but when they find the Court of Miracles in the catacombs, it's very quasi-Hebrew, quasi-Christian,
Dude, that's the world.
quasi-moto.
Like this, this film is one of those ones that's like so religion of the future, syncretism stuff that it doesn't look like it. And I was reading comments where people like Catholics were like, "What do you think of this movie?" And they're like, "It's really good. I love the way it portrays the church and all this stuff." I'm just like, this is exactly like Seraphim Rosie stuff 101 that's going on in this film. And yeah, so like it's one of those things that I think to his credit, a guy like John Pajot can say it way better than I. But I'll, say it the way I say it. Paul's gonna say it. It's like you can't make a real Christian like every story is kind of Old Testament because like if you're to really write like let's make an allegory and something that's super Christian. Like
Mhm.
it's like you have to have a character in the story who is the author of the story, who enters into the story, who is like lets the characters in the story have their way with him, and then the whole time he still somehow manages to like die and come back to like you know what I'm saying? It's like the Jesus story is so radically 100 different from our way of seeing things, seeing the
Mhm.
world with the eyes of the resurrection
Mhm.
that no movie can do it. Like it can only allude to it because there's no other story to tell. Like once the gospel's been written, like it's the last story. Like there's nothing else anybody could do that would top that. Like it has every single thing in it. So
Everything else is derivative of that.
right, or backwards. And so that's why it's like it's interesting because like I would like to see, and I love me a good story. I could do allegory, it's fine. I could do mythology, like I can get it. And I like fantasy and stuff because the real world is so mystical already that I hate watching real world movies because it's like they're just made by atheists. So I was like, this is a movie about a divorce, a family divorce.
Yeah.
Wash. It's like, or at least a movie about like magical robots. I could pretend that's like God is in there. It's like a more mystical world.
Yeah.
You know, but if
Yeah.
it's like movies in general, like we're on this track. We always have been. I guess it's like they're always so Old Testament or pagan with allusions to the gospel. It's like in our own time, we're back in the pre-gospel world, like making all these stories, trying to make stories to build the Messiah, and it's like it's already been done. And so I think, sorry, one little diatribe on the movies, like it'd be interesting to see Christian movies that are like, maybe about the lives of the saints or like real things that involve God in like a real context because it's like Hollywood is just so unfaithful to being true that it's just they make this crap. So let's go through
Mhm.
it.
Well, the one day out there that Quasi wants to spend actually ends up being what Frollo calls a lowbrow peasant festival.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the morning of what they call the Feast of Fools or Topsy-Turvy Day, and the whole village is getting ready for this seemingly fun, fair type of festival. But I didn't know if you knew this, but Topsy-Turvy Day, in my guess, would be Saturnalia.
I kind of got that vibe.
So, if you don't know what that is, real quick, it's just a Roman festival that took place during, the end of December, where everybody would be backwards. So, if you were, a master, you would be the slave. If you were a slave, you'd put a crown on and be the king. And if you were, whatever you were, you would be the opposite of that. So, you'd
Yeah,
have,
like
rich people serving the peasants, and everything was just like upside down for Saturnalia. So I think this is where they're going with Topsy-Turvy Day.
yeah.
And so Quasi gets out there and he sees Esmeralda, which is what I mean, let's just call it, she's a spicy dancer, right?
She's
She's a
close
Yeah, she's a lady who dances
for a
seductively
living.
for money. She's a gypsy. She's obviously Demi Moore, like you said. She's just in striptease at this time.
And she's a witch in this movie. I mean, she performs magic that she disappears and stuff.
Well,
And
gypsies are. famous for that type of.
Yeah, in the Topsy Turvy song, one of the lyrics was, "It's the day we mock the prig and shock the priest. Everything is topsy turvy at the Feast of Fools." And then this line I thought was interesting. It's just one line, but he says, join the bums and thieves and strumpets streaming in from Chartres to some other French place I can't pronounce. Scurvy knaves are extra scurvy on the 6th of January. Do we know what day January 6th is? It's Theophany, the baptism of our Lord. It's like this direct, I don't know why they put the 6th of January in here, unless it's like, uh,
Oh, well, that would make sense with Saturnalia because it's at the end of December.
yeah, I mean, it checks out perfect. Same day as like Orthodox Christmas, if you want to do Orthodox Christmas or if you want to do Theophany, whatever it is, basically. They're probably actually referencing the Orthodox Christmas, I would bet.
Yeah,
But
probably.
but still, either way, whether it's Christmas or Theophany, it's this mocking of, our holy days. And
So on Topsy Turvy Day, they have to crown the King of Fools. And this is right after, Frollo is having a fit because he sees Esmeralda dancing. And this is like, you can see the evil rising
oh,
around his spirit, like in a cartoon, as she's seductively doing her thing. What do you think about that in a
yeah,
kid's movie?
this part I put, let's see here. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of, well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's crazy. I got some quotes on something from a book I wanted to reference, but like in that scene, you see Frollo just like, he's just going wild, man, because he's like, I hate this woman. I want
Hmm.
this woman. I
Hmm.
both like want her dead because it's like she's a gypsy and she's not supposed to be here, but I also want her dead because I can't handle loving her.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like, it's very adult. It's like kind of, I don't remember how I gauge. I probably as a kid, I know how I gauge watching this. I was probably like, Esmeralda, you know.
Well, I'm sure Esmeralda awakened a lot of things in a lot of little kids.
What do you make of Esmeralda? Like, do you see, is she girl boss? Is she a Madonna whore? Like, what do you like? Tell us from a woman's point of
Um,
view.
well, she is a revolutionary Sophia in the movie because she's all about my people and standing up for justice and against, it's a very like David and Goliath type dynamic. But she's also just kind of like a blank slate for all of these guys to project their
Wait,
problems onto because Quasi like falls in love with her right away, like a young boy would do. The first girl that ever actually was nice to him, he's like, "Oh, I'm your humble simp forever." Frollo's projecting
it's
his mixed feelings onto her, and she's just like trying to survive. I mean,
I
yeah,
think Phoebus sees her the most like a real person. Because like on
yeah.
some level, I mean, he still obviously is attracted to her, but in the end, they seem like a good fit. It's like they literally kind of fight, you could say rib to rib, they're side to side. So
Hmm.
like in a way more matched where like Quasi's two below her, Frollo's two above her,
Yeah.
but Phoebus kind of like just right. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Um,
The face of her is this object. Nobody sees her as an icon.
Oh, good point. Yeah, she's just an object. And I believe the book is focused mainly on her story as the character.
Yeah, I don't know who. I know that there's not as much emphasis on Quasimodo in the story, and that the
Mhm.
main character is Church.
Mm.
But so I got a couple stuff on. I was thinking about masks in this scene, and it's fascinating because like the mask, we cover a mask in order to hide something, and the veil is used sort of reveals through covering. That's why like the marriage you have the veil, and the veil is something that like in church we have the veil between the altar and the place, so it's kind of like it's there, but it's keeping us protected from its power. Where the mask is sort of meant to conceal,
Mm.
and so it's interesting because there's like this kind of don't know what to make with it. It's like I don't have it exactly worked out. It's like both Quasimodo and Frollo are images of God, but one is like super ugly physically. The other one is not, but one is more ugly in his countenance, Frollo, where Quasimodo is more kind of, the angelic one in the story. He seemed like he's kind of loved by God because he lives up in the bell tower and he's, the helped outcast, the helpless outcast thing. And so I don't know. There's this interesting way that the mask is this thing that should try to take it off him, and she can't. And so there's this
Hmm.
way that in that scene when then the MC is kind of like, he's covering it up. He's like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, let's sorry, this guy's really got the best mask of all. You want an ugly guy, we got an ugly guy. And it's this weird way that like we in this performative culture, it's like we always want to keep our distance from the ugly thing.
Hmm.
It's like as long as it's got a mask on, it's a party, it's great. And then it's kind of like, oh, it actually is ugly. What do we do? Screw it, let's just have a party. And like we're always looking for some excuse to not be intimate and not be vulnerable with something. And
Hmm.
so I just think a lot about this. Like this movie is got this move from like, do we participate with it or do we just kind of like mock it in jest and play around if it was a mask?
Hmm.
So
Well, I thought it was interesting in that scene. Well, you're talking about when they're crowning the King of Fools, and they try to remove Quasi's face, and they find out it's actually his face, and then they turn on him, and they
hmm.
start pelting him with fruit and vegetables. So his dream day actually turned out to be a nightmare. And this reminded me of that old conspiracy paper called King Kill 33. We don't have to talk about that because we're short on time, but go watch Isaac Weishaupt's new covering of that. So basically, it's like killing of a king is an ancient ritual, is like a scapegoat when things go wrong. In antiquity, your head was literally on a chopping block as a king, and your subjects were very superstitious. If there was a famine or a flood or any kind of, plague or blight, like they were like, okay, let's kill the king and get on with life because it's his fault.
Did you notice? Yeah, because they kind of given him the crown, the robe he's wearing, the purple robe, like
Mhm.
Christ, and she's like Veronica. She's like helping him in his on along the stations of the way, and he's got this crown of thorns, so to speak, on, and so it's like, oh, there's the biblical symbolism. It's like, all
But
right.
yeah, but this is a pagan thing too, the King Kill 33. And did you notice that Esmeralda's best friend is a goat?
Did you notice
Mhm.
that Esmeralda is the Whore of Babylon wearing scarlet and red and many jewels? Do you see it? Revelation 17 is basically like a description of the exactly the stuff she's wearing, which is the same thing Jasmine is wearing when she's seducing Scar, when she's like Scar's concubine, or not Scar, Jafar's concubine in
Hmm.
Aladdin. So there's this thing with like the red and purple women.
Yeah, I believe that totally. And she's like a seductive dancer too, so that fits into the whole
Hmm.
like of it. Yeah, so things turn on Quasi very fast. Esmeralda actually has to save him from the people and from the wrath of Frollo, and this starts off her revolutionary speech, like, you can't do this to us, and we're gonna rise against the man, which is
Oh, I
Frollo,
know.
right? So she's
Fearless
like
soul,
this gypsy
Esmeralda
Joan of
comes
Arc.
in.
What?
Yeah, fearless soul Esmeralda just coming in. She's like, "Oh, I will, I'll help you." I don't know. It's kind of that. It was a cool moment because it's like the whole place gets silent and like what it really does when one person stands up. But again, it's always like social justice, social
Very.
justice. Like like if I'm not able to like hit every note of something I want to say tonight, my main point of this movie is like what is this movie doing? Like it takes place in a church with zero reference to God or religion as anything to actually help people. Like the
Hmm.
whole thing is just a humanism love story with the church as a background. Like you don't need to tell this movie in a church. Like tell it in the Jungle Cruise or like freaking like Andy's Toy Box or something. Like this doesn't need to be a Disney movie in a church. Like it's almost just sorry for being so moralistic, but it's like it's almost just like disgusting. Like how they play this out. I don't know. It was like I know I'm really looking into it, but I'm like, why bother with the church thing if you're not even going to touch any of the church notes? It's just
Well,
kind of
I like what you said about how the church can be a sanctuary or a prison, depending on the circumstance, right?
right.
And that's what happens to Esmeralda. So by saving Quasi from the crowd, Frollo gets mad at her. She has to run into the Notre Dame and claim sanctuary, just like Quasi's mom was trying to do when she died. But
Mm.
Esmeralda makes it inside, and this is when Frollo comes up and grabs her from behind and sniffs her hair and tells her he imagines a rope around her pretty neck. And I mean, what?
Like, what do we need to say here? It's like so blatantly obvious. It's like it's crazy, dude. I was just like, you think how much work they have to put into like animating it too to make it like super creepy. It's
So yeah, he's a creepy sniffer and a sadist, and he has weird fantasies of death and sex, and she even calls him out for being a perv. I mean, it wasn't ambiguous at all. She like recoils and says, "I know what you have in mind."
It's like a neck or a rope around your pretty little neck. Like
Yeah.
probably is what you want. Like on that's the weird thing about Frollo. It's like you think he wants it all, dude. He wants
He
the
wants to
noose.
torture people. He wants BDSM, his gypsy girlfriend.
Yeah, this guy needs help. And that's
Yeah.
the thing that's like so twisted about this movie is like, I get it. It's just a movie. It's just a movie. But it's exactly it. This movie shows the kind of failure of the church to change people, right? Because it's like Frollo needs God more than anything else. And it's like he's literally in a movie that's like filled with God. It's the whole movie's about God. They even like show Mary and Jesus in this movie, but yet like
Yeah. Well,
no reference to actual stuff.
his whole life revolves around morality, but he's the most wicked one. So,
Right. And because like nobody in this movie can get their shit together, it like it kind of just speaks of the failure of secularism to deliver the goods when it comes to human soul. Like this, it's not about like I hate this kind of stuff in these movies because it's like we'll settle for anything. Like we're so in need of God, like anything will fit the bill. Like I'll show you Disney adult TikToks later, but like it's tragic. It's like we think that like this world is like a choice between I want ice cream or chocolate. Like, no, is there a difference between diabetes or life? Like
hmm
we gotta take this stuff more seriously. Like, I'm not saying like don't watch any movies, just be like a Luddite, but seriously, like be discerning about what's going on in this stuff because this movie is like textbook way to like see it's religious. We respect God, we da 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 da, but we don't want to offend anybody. Well, at the same time, it's like kind of totally offensive. And yeah,
Well, as soon as Esmeralda takes sanctuary in Notre Dame, Quasi takes her up to give her a tour, and they sing the song called God Help the Outcast,
where
right?
she's virtue signaling. She's like, I don't want anything. I'm just like, I
Aren't
just
we
want to
children of God too? Even after I
have.
just did my sexy dance in front of the whole town, right?
And it's like, God, are you listening? Will you help somebody like me? I heard that you will. And it's like, again, I get it. That's what God does. Like it was right in the sense of showing like, yes, God is there for you. But in the movie, God never intervenes. So it's like, in the end, Phoebus intervenes. So it's like she should pray to Phoebus, who's the sun god, by the way, which is what his name means.
hmm
Remember?
hmm
Yeah, and the parishioners are like, I want money, I want wealth, I want fame. And it's like, well, she's like, but I, the Madonna of the gypsies, just, want
She just wants her people to be able to live in peace amongst the.
let people go, man. See, everybody's Moses in this movie.
Did you notice that one of the bells that Quasi shows her is named Little Sophia?
Hmm.
So there's a little Gnosticism sprinkled in there.
But I think it's not. I don't know if somebody smarter than I could say that humanism is like, related to Gnosticism, but I see this movie very much as a humanism, like a tract on like humanism. Like
hmm
be human, like we are good. Doesn't matter how ugly you are on the outside. You are loved by someone.
Let's talk about Frollo's song. Do you have the lyrics to
I
that?
I do. Yeah, some of these lines are hilarious.
Okay,
It confess to
so
God. Yeah, go ahead.
Frollo sings a song basically about his lust for Esmeralda, and he must destroy her because he can't resist her, and it's like super creepy. There's 1,000 robed judges judging him. Read some of the lines from that.
Sure, sure. Um, and then I want to really just a couple of quotes by the fathers, short quotes on evil and kind of the power, pride, and how that passion gets in us.
Okay.
So we got in Latin, excuse me, in Latin, I confess to God Almighty, to the blessed Mary ever Virgin, to the blessed Archangel, to the holy apostles, to all the saints. It doesn't say Jesus, just God Almighty. You know, the abstract God Almighty. Oh, Maria, you know I am a righteous man. Of my virtue I am justly proud. And to you, Father and Mother, I am so much purer than the common, vulgar, weak, licentious crowd. Why do I see her dancing there with her smoldering eyes scorching my soul? I feel her, I see her, the sun caught in raven hair and blazing in and out of me, out of all control. Hellfire is burning my skin, da da da. It's my fault, but I'm not to blame. My grievous fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's the gypsy girl. This is the part. God. God made the devil so much stronger than man. It's just like
Mm,
I hate how debilitating this stuff is. It's like it makes you feel so weak if this is all you have to think of the religious life is like a hunchback style
yeah.
spirituality.
And yeah, I really hate that people think that life is about giving up everything that's fun and that you like and that is pleasurable. It's
Totally.
really about that.
Yeah, because it's like I'm flirting. Flirting's not a right word because I mean it really seriously. I mean, I'm here, I'm living basically at a monastery right now, and I'm like kind of courting the idea of maybe staying here.
Mhm.
And part of like realizing is like, just like I was saying at the beginning with Frollo, like if you make a choice out of guilt or shame or like I need to repent or accept, it's like that's not love. It's like God, if you're sincere in your heart, he accepts your prayer like right away. I mean, the fathers sometimes say if you know after 3 days, you know your prayer's been accepted. But like that Western sense of guilt is just like it's just so toxic to our heart.
Mm.
And this movie just has it all in spades, you know. And even if it's like the guilty guy doesn't win in the end, he gets burned in hell, like fine, sure. But still the fact is like this is how they portray the human experience with God as this type of struggle all the time. And it's like, yes, Lord, whatever you want me to do, beat me to it. It's like, no, man, it's like God made you with a very specific goal in mind. Like he wants the best for you. God doesn't have some second rate, like, oh, Jamie, sorry, you didn't make that one. I got a backup one. It's like, no, he's got the best one for us, you know? And this
Mhm.
movie just like it's just so symptomatic of Western like schizoidism with relationship to God that it drove me crazy. Like how helpless God is in this movie to help people.
Well, yeah, and they portray that Frollo is helpless against Esmeralda. Um, Men are helpless against Satan and the demonic temptations, which is not true either. Um,
Well, it's like at one hand pedestalizes her like in Frollo's mind, but it's also completely debases her. That's exactly what we do like in
it's
this
a
Western relationship. It's
it's a
madness, you know.
very Madonna horror complex too. So he's suffering from a lot of psychological problems. He should
Bad for
get
Frollo.
married.
So this is a quote by Saint Macarius. No, I'm sorry. This is Saint Sophrony in the Saint Silouan book, page 201. So long as pride, let's see, this was a footnote. Let me see if the quote is relevant. So long as pride is deeply rooted in him, Frollo, man is subject to particularly painful, hellish despair that distorts his every notion of God and the ways of his providence. The proud soul, plunged in the torments and shades of hell, fire in our case, sees God in the cause of her suffering, the soul, sees the cause of the soul's suffering, and considers God. Okay, let me read that again. The proud soul, plunged in the torments and shades of hellfire, sees God as the cause of its sufferings and considers God immeasurably cruel. Deprived of true life in God, the soul sees everything through the spectrum of its own crippled state. And in the soul's despair, she begins to consider even the existence of God himself as a hopeless absurdity.
Mm.
So his pride is a killer, dude. And like Frollo is pride AF, dude. The whole movie.
Frollo is like everything that's wrong with the church like distilled into one
And
character.
that's the thing is he's not even a church guy in the movie. He's a
Right.
minister of
Right.
justice. It's like just make him a freaking deacon already, dude, and put your cards on the table.
I
Tired of
saw
this.
in the book, someone said he actually like turns to black magic and sorcery to try to get Esmeralda. So that would make sense.
At one point in this, at one point, it happens once in the story, Phoebus and Esmeralda, I think, are like in the corridor getting levy or whatever, and Frollo's like wearing a demon mask or something, and he like kills. I think it's Phoebus. Yeah, I think it's Phoebus, and he kills him, and then Quasimodo gets framed.
Hmm.
Or Esmeralda gets framed, something like that. But the point is Frollo's wearing a demon mask, like creeping out of the shadows, stabbing people.
Right. Yeah, so he is freaking out. He's crashing out. He says, "She will be mine or she will burn." And then he goes across the countryside looking for more gypsies, and he tries to burn a family alive in their house, but Phoebus disobeys orders, and that begins, this internal war between his men and Frollo.
He
Uh,
offers 10 pieces of silver. If you
mhm.
notice that,
Like,
whoever will
yeah,
find.
very Judas-like, right?
Hmm.
And throughout this movie, I'm laughing because it's like gypsies are very hated. Um, we were doing a live stream one time, Jay and I, and this girl was chatting or she sent a super chat from Romania and Jay like jokingly said gypsy and she got
Uh-huh.
so mad. She's like, I am not a gypsy. Like, don't ever that you just called me the worst thing you could ever do. I'm like,
Wow.
whoa, dude, I didn't know that it was like that.
You dropped the G word, dude.
That's what the G on the Mason G stands for gypsy, right?
That's a good tie-in. Nice. That was good. I like that.
But I mean, honestly, if you go over there, like if you've seen them in Europe, it's pretty annoying the way they like beg and panhandle and don't leave you alone. And yeah.
I've heard stories. Yeah. Yeah,
You-
it's tough because it's like, yeah, when people like they do that in New York City too, where they like walk around, give you a flower, and then they're like, cough up, cough up. You're like, I don't
Yeah.
get my hand, dog. Like,
It's like I get it, but you don't have to burn them alive and the children in their house. But
yeah,
not saying
Frollo
I
is
disagree.
wild.
What?
Frollo is wild in this movie.
Yeah.
He goes 100% in. Like Frodo is truly like the maybe the greatest Disney villain of all time. And I don't mean like he's so cool, just like pure evil. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't sing because like all those other bad guy songs like Scar's like, oh, I'm the baddest lion. Ursula is like, I'm a witch. Like then we got the voodoo guy. Like they just put on Front Street that they're evil,
Hmm.
where he thinks he's doing the right thing the
Hmm.
whole time. And
Hmm.
that's what makes him crazy. You know, it's because it's truly a good villain because it is a nuanced character and shows how twisted you get when you think you're doing the right thing.
And he's so conflicted too.
Yeah, I mean, he
Uh,
literally dies hugging a demon, falling into a pit of fire with his eyes like burning red. Dude is evil.
yeah. He had red eyes in one scene. Was it the scene after he watched her dancing or something like that, or that he?
No, is it at the end when he's like ready to kill her, when he's like ready
Oh,
to
oh
kill.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the red in his eyes.
Well, you mentioned that Phoebus and Esmeralda kiss in front of Frollo, but in the movie, Esmeralda and Phoebe kiss in front of Quasi, and he's like so cocked in that scene. Remember, he's like,
Dude, yeah, and then at the end, I love that. This is so funny because Esmeralda's basically like, "Yo, Quasi, this is my new boyfriend Phoebus. He got drunk last night and crashed my parents' car. Can you stay at your place for the night?" And he's
yeah.
just like, yeah, sure, honey, I love you. You know, anything to be a good friend." Well, that's the thing is like, I don't know what to make of this. I'm just gonna throw this little line out there. Someone else can think about it. But that's the thing. It's like Quasi is he's self-sacrificial. He condones their love. At the end, he's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. be together, you know.
He
But
blesses their union. But when they're
yeah,
making out the first time, he's like walking around like, I'm right here. Like, it's so awkward.
yeah, there's that. So that's that weird thing where it's like, I don't know what to make of it. It's like, oh, sorry, ugly people. You're basically doomed to just be like the pious bell ringer. Like, you're a holy fool if no gypsy, hot gypsy woman will love you because you're not like a Riz Chad Phoebus. And yeah, I don't know. But you could be self-sacrificial, like Quasimodo, go sacrifice yourself for the greater good.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. It's just, this movie left a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, what did you think about that the map to the Court of Miracles looked like the Jesus fish or the
Oh,
vesicle?
yeah. Yeah, with like I loved it because it was like that classic like New Age symbol where it's like yeah, like this thing here. It's kind of like the Pisces with a cross with a star, and at the end it's like again, it's kind of saying the church isn't the key. It's this like little rope around my neck, like haphazard DIY map I made. That's the real key to the universe, dude. Like the authority doesn't know what's happening, but we like gypsies down the street who make our own mind nets. Like we got the real code to the city. They got
Hmm.
the esoteric underground wisdom.
Oh, well, basically that's what they're saying because the map that looks like the Jesus fish leads them to the crypt that looks like a Templar type crypt, and then they go down into the catacombs, which is a Christian thing.
Right.
Um, and they are in the underground gypsy city, which is kind of like the underground worshipers of the true God.
Right. There was a oh, I don't think we're there yet. We'll get to it a little bit. So yeah, go ahead. And then that's in the court where they're like upside down. And in that place, basically in the upside down world, the court is the audience, the judge, the jury, and the executioner
Hmm.
all at once. And it's
Hmm.
kind of like the way the world is these days, right? Like social media, it's like your people are your judge, your executioners all at once. Like there's no fair
Point.
trial anymore
Yeah,
online.
that's a very good point. Um, yeah, so they have to go bring the gypsies out from underground. Uh,
Mhm.
and they are about to burn Esmeralda at the stake for witchcraft, even though this whole time they've been giving them like the true believers mythos, right?
Like you're saying, who's doing the True Believers Mythos? Frollo and
Like the
Company or the
gypsies are the true
yeah, yeah.
believers. They're
Okay,
the
that's what I
Hebrews
thought.
under the Egyptian type. Yeah.
Right, right, right. And now she's burning burn for the witch. And I think it's funny too because it's like witchcraft, witch hunting and all that. It wasn't even medieval, like when this time takes place. Like it's such an enlightenment thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
witch hunt was like I was doing the math. It was 1560
Hmm.
to 1670. So
Hmm.
the peak era was 1560 to 1630, which is like Renaissance. It's not even medieval point. And that's like basically we're moving into the modern era.
Uh-huh.
But between 1560 and 1670, 110 years, there were 40,000 deaths of witches in Europe.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a big number, man.
But let's just clarify that's not an Eastern Church thing. That was a
Yeah, oh,
Western
yeah, yeah,
Church
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay. That's
I'm so
not
used to
Orthodox,
only
that's
talking to
Roman
Orthodox people.
Catholic
Yeah, yeah. So,
and Lutheran business that is not Orthodox. And they will tell you when you go to the Orthodox, we do not condone harming anybody for that kind of stuff. Well, basically they told me witches don't have that much power, so we don't really have to uh, we don't bother ourselves with executing them because they're not that powerful.
right, and the cross is the power. So it's like that's why even people that didn't believe in vampires and stuff still know that making the sign of the cross will destroy a vampire because the cross has inherent property.
Hmm.
Like that's like an ancient way of thinking that we think as Orthodox, where like inner meaning and outer physical thing, invisible and visible, are always connected. There's no like supernatural up there and natural down here. It's all, as they say, a one-story universe.
Hmm.
And it's just something that's so hard to think about as a Western person. We
Yeah.
don't default that.
So witch hunts is a Protestant Catholic thing, not an Orthodox thing. Let's just be
Yeah, yeah,
clear.
yeah. Please. Sorry, we no. Orthodox in the audience.
But she is being burnt at the stake for the only crime of what? Being sensual and not wanting to be bound to Frollo and to the religion and um
Right, and that's exactly what happens. That Frollo's got this passion, this lust that symbolizes Esmeralda. I can't speak tonight. Esmeralda, and when we're stuck in these like passions, they just burn us alive. So like that's what happens.
mhm.
Is he got his lust, he throws it down there, it just burns him and the whole place alive. Did you notice one of these funny parallels with Pinocchio, kind of? In Pinocchio, they're underwater and it's fire that saves them to get out. And in this movie, the whole world's on fire and it's the baptismal rains at the end that
Oh yeah.
all that. It's a little kind of
A-
inversion there.
And it's the fire like pouring out of the gargoyles' mouths. I thought that was really interesting. Um, I don't really know anything about gargoyles, really. The only thing I caught in this movie was the one that had Jason Alexander's voice, had a crush on the goat.
Yeah. That was a weird yeah, he had a thing for the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing about gargoyles, again, I don't know much about them other than they're kind of like the idea is that the evil thing will ward off the evil coming in, kind
Oh,
of
I
like
see.
a Gothic type of
Okay.
idea.
Well, Quasi rescues Esmeralda from being burned at the stake at the last minute, and they both overthrow Frollo. He finds out he's really a gypsy this whole time. Very Moses-like again. And yeah, that's the one day. That's the day in the life of Quasi. If I could just have one day out there, then we'll cause a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, that really was all one day, wasn't it?
I think it
I mean,
was over like 24 hours or something like that.
yeah, well, it's interesting because it's like the whole film is about going in the topsy-turvy. He wants that one day of escape, and it sends the whole world upside down. And then then what you have at that point is just an utter exploration of the passions and the temptations and all this underside of the underground, the underground court, the gypsy
Hmm.
side of things that we don't
Hmm.
see in Quasi's life.
Well,
And
did
then at the very end, he's like comes down at ground level. He is not just free falling from the tower. He like makes the conscious decision to be grounded and
hmm.
come out like through his point of view. And then you have like the girl who like touches his face. She's like, he's a beautiful human being.
Yeah. And Frollo literally burned in his lustful passion, right?
Accurate. Accurate.
Uh, and Phoebus and Esmeralda apparently lived happily ever after, and Quasi got his day. And did you have some TikToks to show us?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is all right. So yeah, I'm stepping away from the podcasting for a little while. I think the Disney thing, I'm kind of hitting my quota with it, but we're gonna do iconography stuff later, like we said. But in the meantime, I wanted to show, okay, I don't want to shame people, and so this isn't about that, but it is kind of showing all this stuff we've talked about over the last couple of years of like the reality of Disney adulting. They call it that these days. I'm saying like the religion of our times.
Hmm.
And I'm not highbrow, man. I don't know stuff about Islam. I don't know anything like, but I know that like this religion of the future stuff permeates into every pocket, even something like this. And you can comment if you want, or we'll just go through. People, you can get the point. Is like look at the hunger in these people for God. And then whatever we could do here in our own lives to help people, that's what we got to do. So like, let's check this out. Okay, I got that. All right. So she's looking at Goofy. So she's getting excited to see hugging a guy
Oh,
in a suit. Like
oh,
that's not even,
gosh. I hate
you can
Goofy.
buy, you can buy, yeah, we know. You can buy a Goofy sweater for like, or a costume for like 500 bucks online. You
No,
just
that's the
have
real
some,
Goofy, Paul. That-
yeah, well, then you have to go to Disney World, spend thousands of dollars to hug a guy in a suit. Like this guy, like he's whatever. He's probably just some dude from Oklahoma. But all right, so we got this. 30-year-old me, single and childless, enjoying every food at Disneyland, while I see parents dealing with their kids throwing a tantrum. Walking around with all his gay Disney gear on, literally. Right. But these get heavier from here, so let me drop this down here. How do I get this dock to bottom? All right. How much cringe is this? Here we got. Same guy. We can't listen to audio in this, but he's dancing. He's got that cosplay going on. So he's looking for that liturgical life. I feel like we're just looking for the liturgical life.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, these are getting crazy. All right, this one was just like, I can't believe this.
Have you been dying to ride Mater's Junkyard Jamboree at Disney's California Adventure, but you weren't sure if you'd fit? Hey everyone, we're plus size park hoppers. We range in
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
sizes from 2X to 5X. Make sure you like this video and follow us for more plus size Disney tips and tricks.
Now, obviously,
All right, it's sad, man. It's just
Why
sad.
are they always fat?
Yeah, and it's like this is the thing. It's like these people, we all need help. We all need help. Truly. Like I'm no better off than these people, but like this system has made to just normalize this stuff where it's like we just cope from staying, we just stay in the system. Like this is just addiction. Like we're unwilling to surrender any of this because of the fear it may have. So we just like keep dressing up and getting fat and living in the past. And it's like, ugh, it's terrible. But this is the one that I can't even finish this, man. This was like so sad.
Disney adults have a mental illness. You have to be mentally ill to be a Disney adult. Yeah, we know. We're completely aware of that. It's not a revelation. No, you really cracked the code there, Sherlock. Quick question though, would you name for me someone who doesn't have some sort of mental illness? Quickly, surprise!
Yeah, probably a lot of people actually.
Because we're all just walking around out here with anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, etc. We just found something to cope with that you seem to have a problem with. Second thing, how is my mental illness any of your business?
Okay, I can't even watch it
Well,
anymore.
I have something to say to that. It's
Go
like,
for it, please.
where do you think that mental illness came from?
Oh, what do
Is
you answer? Tell us. What are you
well,
thinking?
consuming all of this
Yeah.
propaganda and media and Disney crap, that's contributing to your mental illness.
Yeah, it's like we need like coping is the worst, man. And it's like I was saying earlier offhand, but I mean it. It's like we have to because it's just stuff I'm learning for myself and how to live. Let me stop screen sharing. Um, Stop holding on to that one little thing I have inside that I'm not willing to give to God, that thing I'm so afraid of, that shame. I don't want to be seen in it. You know, I'm afraid to let it out. I don't want people to know about it. I don't even want God to know about it for whatever messed up reason. And so then we just start coping and we just deal with stuff. So it's like we feel empty. So we want to fill that emptiness. That's the cope. And then from there, the copes are like coping is just we're dealing with surface level stuff. We're not willing to go penetrate deep. And because of that, we're just like stuck in mask zone. Like, this kind of ties back to the Feast of Fools. Like we got to take off these masks and go like in scripture, from a mask to a veil to seeing God as he is. You know, like we say right now, we see things dark, but eventually see it face to face.
Hmm.
And so it's like Paul's final note on my whole Disney thing is like, just let's help people how we can. Let's try to be loving, but let's also like, dude, I don't know how to deal with this stuff. Like the wheat is gonna grow up with the tares, that the Lord says. But in the meantime, like I really think there's something like spiritually sinister going on in the Magic Kingdom that
Mm.
is it would be nice to see it all eradicated from the face of the earth and like, you know, at some point down the road. Like, I don't know. It's like it's so
Maybe
bad.
in the future it will be part of history.
Well,
But
it's like sorry, one last thing. I'm sorry, we gotta get going. But like, um, Walt's dead. Like the king is dead. You know, they chopped his head off, like you were saying. Like, there's
oh,
no way his body can grow back. Like, I really think Disney is dead. It's just a matter of time. Like, you could see there's so many essays, videos, whatever, articles written about like the decline of the business. And I really don't know if it'll make it another 25, 30 years. Like,
hmm.
I don't know, man.
Well, we will miss you and your commentary on the Disney
Ah,
movie.
I am gonna miss this, honestly. Like, this has been so much fun. Like, this has been such a great joy for me. But it's like I gotta be serious about, like, I want to make you guys good icons, you know? It's like I want that. It's like when they touch it, like this feels like this guy was praying, you know? And it's like
Oh,
I just
yeah.
know me. It's like I know that I have to like focus on this stuff. So yeah, I'm super grateful for all of this. I'm so thanks. Yeah, man, Jamie, this has been so much fun. And we're not done. I'm just shifting
No,
out the Disney stuff.
we're
So
just
you have my blessing.
pivoting and we're putting a
Yeah.
pin in Walt Disney for now with you, but
Yeah.
we will continue to take up the mantle with Thomas from Paranoid
Do
Invasion
it.
and
Please, you
others.
have my blessing. You have
Yeah,
my blessing.
we're
And
actually
if
gonna do.
if there's something epic that comes up, if I gotta come back, if something happens, we gotta talk about it. We could talk about it. Like the door's not closed.
All right.
Uh,
Well, but
yeah.
next time, if we do a show, we will be doing Seraphim Rose and Religion of the Future.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan. So, yeah, can I plug stuff here at the very end?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, shout out to whoever emailed me since the last episode. Some guy went on an ISIS rant in my email. I don't know whether he's talking about the goddess or the terrorist group, but shout
Okay.
out to you, homie. That was really funny. Guess that's what loving life now, putting my email online. So shout out to you. I listened to Jay's Quasimodo music video in preparation.
Quasimodo.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
really helped me get in the mood for this. And I guess if anybody wants to subscribe to my channel, I don't have maybe something down the road, but listen to my essay. I got an essay up there. You can read it or listen to it. And if you want to help contribute to my journey here at St. Ticons, please, I'm all open to almsgiving very much. And I thank everybody who's helped in the past. So thanks, Jamie. Thanks, everyone.
All right. We're so glad to have you as part of the Out of This World family, and I know the chat really loves you and every time you come on. And I got some really great stuff coming up for you all in the near future. We've got Donut Mystery Schools. We've got Courtney Turner talking about Christian nationalism. We've
Yes.
got PsyOps Cinema guys coming on talking about NASA and Hollywood and fake moon landing. So it's going to be a really fun summer. So stay tuned and we'll always bring you the best in conspiracy and orthodoxy. I don't know what.
Yeah, super alternative indie content.
Yes.
You're
Thanks.
the best, Jamie. You're crushing it out here. I love how much your channel's growing, and it's awesome. I feel like getting new people every day, and honestly, it feels like people are getting nicer. Maybe it's just whatever. Maybe the algorithm's just like only showing us what we want to see. But I love it. I love all the love out here. You guys are awesome.
That's my audience. We're the nice ones. All right. See ya.
All right, night.
Bye.